Hey, what is up guys? So we're going to be doing another deck profile here for ninjas. This is a slightly different build focusing on a different variation of control. Ultimately, ninjas are meant to be a control deck. However, they do have a bit of combinations of consistency with the draw power, and it's also its speed as well, which is definitely a very cool thing about ninjas, being able to have different tricks up their sleeves and everything like that. So yeah, this is my particular take on it. So let's just start on with this deck profile. It's going to be very different from the previous one, you'll definitely see the changes here, but still playing 3 copies of Yellow Ninja, obviously to summon out more of your other ninjas out like Hanzo. We're playing 3 copies of Hanzo, of course, still the most important card in the deck to help you add your ninjutsu art cards or otherwise just add more ninjas. The Upstart Golden Ninja, still think 2 copies is fine here. We're not playing as many trap cards in this particular deck as the previous one, however, we're still playing enough that we could use them as fodder for Upstart Golden Ninja's effect. Playing 2 copies of Jogan, great way to special summon himself out to go into your Link Monster Saizo, so definitely a really good option here to play 2 of. However, I did drop the copies of Kargan because you know, he's really just focusing on being able to boost up your ninja's monsters' attacks during the battle phase, but at the same time, pendulum summoning isn't as big of a deal in this particular build here. We are still playing the transformation, so Dark Simorgh, still a really amazing card just to prevent your opponent from actually setting cards, so still think it's well worth playing in this particular deck. However, we're only playing 1 copy of White Dragon Ninja now, and 1 copy of Yellow Dragon Ninja, simply because, firstly, they can be gone into with the super transformations, which we are still playing 2 of. However, by playing less of it, it's creating more consistency for this particular deck here, so it allows things to work. As you can see here, I've actually dropped out Getsuga. Figure he was a little bit slower, so going to be taking him out and going for this more faster build. While it might have less defense than the previous deck, it is still a lot faster and it is still going to maintain that same control. Speaking of control, we are still playing, or rather we've added in 3 copies of Ash Blossom, a really amazing card to just stop your opponents from drawing. I have a bad feeling it's going to be hit by the ban list pretty soon. We're also playing 2 copies of Drow and Lockbird. I figured this card's one of the other important cards in this particular format. Actually, the interesting thing is I think Drow and Lockbird would most likely be hit before Ash Blossom, if anything. So yeah, Drow and Lockbird's just a really amazing card to just completely stop your opponent for the rest of the turn, whereas Ash Blossom is just a one time. That's pretty much it for monsters. Let's move on to spells. Alright, so after spells, we are still playing 2 copies of the Hidden Village of Ninjutsu Art. In fact, I've actually decided to actually also play Terraforming as well, simply because it could actually search it out, because in this particular case, we don't really care too much about our opponents actually destroying our cards. It's more so we want to search out the cards. So I'm adding an extra Terraforming. You could add in the second one, but I feel it's kind of redundant to actually do that, simply because, again, you're going to be just having a lot of dead cards in hand. It's already searchable enough. Terraforming is just to boost up the consistency just a little bit more. Of course, we are playing the 3 copies of Ninjutsu Art Notebook, still a really amazing card to obviously search out your other Ninjutsu Art spell cards, so definitely very nice there. And I'm also playing 3 copies of Armor Ninjutsu Art of Alchemy to help you draw cards and go into your Ninjutsu Art Notebook, so definitely a really amazing card there, still worth playing 3 of. To extend our plays, we're playing the Monster Reborn. Sometimes we just need it to go into our Link monsters, so it really helps there. Our opponent will be stopping us with our plays. I don't want that to happen, so 3 Called by the Grave, one of the most important cards, definitely well worth playing 3 copies of. We're also playing the 1 Reinforcement of the Army. I forgot it in my previous deck profile for this, but finally added it in. A very important card indeed, but of course there's not much to really explain it. It's more so just deck thinning. And to end things off, we're still playing the Magic Planter. Again, just more draw power, being able to destroy our particular trap cards, continuous traps, and then drawing 2 cards, so allowing us to declog the back row there, so definitely quite nice. onto traps, we are playing 2 copies of the Ninjutsu Art of Super Transformation. Obviously, we only have 2 targets, but 2 is still really good. It is a searchable card, and definitely does the job there. We also have the Ninjutsu Art of Transformation to obviously go for a Dark Samorg. Will definitely do the job here as well. So definitely really awesome to have 2 of them. Playing the Armor Ninjutsu Art of Freezing, just a bit of stall power on our opponent here. I dropped it down to 1 simply because I wanted to actually minimize the amount of cards that we actually had. I found that the previous build was slightly clogging up the back row, just slightly, but overall just took off a few more cards to actually allow more space and more room here. So we're playing the 1 Mirage Transformation. Again, still a really great card. I did already explain how the interactions work between Mirage Transformation and Super Transformation to go for a potential OTK on an opponent. But yeah, it's just really interesting to go there. And we have the Armor Ninjutsu Art of Rust Mist. Definitely will slow down the opponent by weakening their monsters. Ninjas ultimately have really slow, or very low attack, and as a result, they definitely do struggle to actually get over big monsters. So Rust Mist definitely helps out. And we're playing an Unending Nightmare simply because opponent's spell and traps are still very important to actually stop. So just playing the 1. It's also a continuous trap, so it gives us more fodder to actually destroy with Magic Planter without having to play more copies of Freezing or Rust Mist or any of the other Ninjutsu art spells that seem a little more redundant to actually play in the deck. Now, you could also play Shadow Sealing again, but again, I don't have that card, so, don't ask me on that. I definitely would play it. I'll take out the Unending Nightmare and the Freezing and then put in the 2 copies of Shadow Sealing if I actually had the card. Alright, so moving on to the extra deck, we're obviously going to be playing the 2 copies of Saizo. I don't really come into a situation where I need to play 3 copies of it, so 2 copies is definitely more than enough for the deck here. We're also playing the 1 copy of Wee Witch's Apprentice, simply because we have some dark monsters. We're also playing 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, definitely will be there to actually just help as a utility option. Again, Cerberus, another option as well. For Link 4s, again, like I said before, we are lacking in attack power. As a result, we do need some cards to actually get over our opponent's monsters, so Topologic Bomber Dragon definitely does the job there. We are still playing that whole control, so Griffin is definitely one of your greater choices to actually have as a floodgate to stop your opponent's monsters specifically. But that's pretty much it for the link. So moving on to Xyz monsters, we are playing the Utopia package. Still a really great card, great engine to really incorporate into the deck. Again, helping you get over your opponent's monsters. As you can see, we're trying to do whatever we can to actually accommodate for the particular weakness with ninjas here. Tornado Dragon to destroy more spells and traps. Baguska, again, to stop the special summon monsters effects and everything like that. We have Abyss Dweller, definitely able to stop the graveyard. We have Castell, and we have a Blade Armor Ninja. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this particular ninja build. A lot different than the previous one, just slightly. But of course, the plays are still very common to what they are. I'm just going for a more faster build with this particular variant. But of course, it does take away the fact that you're able to play more ninjas in the previous one. So definitely check out the previous one if you want a more variety of plays, but for this one it's really straightforward, it's really fast, and this one's a lot more effective overall. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.